Table, episode 2. Blessed and I'm fortunate to have this guest with me today. She's going to discuss many things that she's involved in, but most importantly, she's going to talk about her product. And I'm going to let her introduce herself to everyone. But let's please give a round of applause and a congratulations to her accomplishments and this lovely lady and a good friend of mine. Welcome to the podcast. How you doing, Al?
I'm fine. How are you? Thank you so much for inviting me. This is my first podcast, so I am a little nervous. I'm not even gonna lie, but I feel I'm just appreciative that you even invited me to speak on the podcast about my business and about how I got started. I'm just thankful.
Right. Well, that's what we do. That's what we're here for. We're here to uplift and give flowers and pay homage. But let's just get right into it. I gotta ask you, what made you do the hair product?
So it was pretty much just my own personal need for quality products. I got a relaxer when I was like 13 years old. Well, 12, because I was going to my 8th grade graduation.
Right.
My mom was like, we're pressed for time. Let me just take you to the salon. Got to the salon. They were like, we don't do natural hair. And I got a relaxer. And I had a relaxer until I was about 33 years old. So over time, all the chemical processing and the heat, it damages your hair.
Right.
And, 12 years old, you're still developing. So, a lot of women can actually say that they've gone through the same thing.
Right.
You're a young girl, your hair is still maturing, you're maturing, and you're dealing with with the chemical processing, with the heat exposure. It can do a lot of damage to your hair. And so I got to a point where I was like, you know what, enough. I'm not going to relax my hair anymore. It's breaking off in the middle. It's not as strong as it should be. And I decided to go natural.
Right.
But when I talked to friends and I looked at products that were already on the market, already being a cosmetic chemist, when I would look at the ingredients, I was like, these ingredients are not good for natural hair. They're not good for hair in general, but especially when you're trying to go on your natural hair journey. So, like I said, being a cosmetic chemist, because that's what I did for my 9-to-5 job, I just started formulating my own products. And it was pretty much me researching more ingredients past shea butter and coconut oil.
Okay.
Because it seemed like that's what everybody knew. That's what companies who were making quote unquote natural hair care products, those were the two main ingredients that they used. And I was like, there's got to be more out there.
Right.
There's got to be more out there. So I did my research, did my trial and error.
Right.
Being a science major, biology major, I was accustomed to, performing different types of procedures in the lab and working with different ingredients and, what works, what doesn't work, formulating, reformulating, modifying my formulations. And I came up with products that actually worked for my hair. And friends that tried the products, because they were in plain white bottles with plain labels, were
Right.
like, what are these products? They really work. And they encouraged me to sell. And that's how Hair Brew got started.
Wow, that's dope. So how many years has Hair Brew?
Beneficial?
Yeah.
Since 2016.
Okay.
So 5.5 going on 6 years. And I'm blessed to still be in business because, small businesses, it's hard for small businesses to maintain, especially Black-owned businesses.
That's what I'm wondering. And you're a female.
And I'm a woman. So, it's not... And I mean, now you look at the market and everybody's coming out with a line, famous people. So, there's a lot of people that's in the market that I have to contend with, but I have quality products and my customers, they know that when they purchase Hair Brew, they're going to get products that have natural ingredients, quality ingredients, made with love, a true scientist who has tested and retested the products, so they know they're going to get quality products. It's not they're just throwing their money away and going to have a closet full of products that don't work.
Right. Well, with that being said, what made you decide to be a chemist or a scientist? Like, we don't, growing up, it's not, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, or I want to be a scientist. I don't want to be this. That's a little bit, how can I say it, far-fetched for the Black community.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest.
That's not something that's highlighted.
Right, in our Black community.
That's true, very true.
And you went to college. Hampton U. We're going to pick up Hampton U.
That's right.
Alumni,
Hampton University. Shout out to my Pirates. That's right.
So
That's right.
At what age did that start for you to say, hey, Ab, you want to be a chemist? Let's put the dolls away and let's start playing with potions. Like, you started playing with potions. I hated science in high school.
Most people
I hated
people
science.
hate science.
I'm
They
going to be
don't get
honest.
it. Yeah.
I hated it since elementary all the way going.
Yeah.
So for you to be
Interesting in it, yeah.
that's a little, and you're a female that was like, hey, like, huh?
Yeah.
Where did that start from?
So, a young age.
Right.
Young age. So, little backstory. My father, he is from Ghana, West Africa.
Right, okay.
And one thing that I'm sure a lot of African children can relate to is African parents, it's like either doctor, engineer, lawyer, some type of profession that's high esteem in their eyes.
Right.
So my father really wanted me to be an engineer, but engineering is hard, and I couldn't grasp it.
Okay.
But I always loved science, and I always loved math. My mom is an accountant, and her mind is like a
Everything
calculator.
coincides.
Exactly.
Now we getting
Exactly.
somewhere.
Exactly. So from a young age, I was really interested in science, and I actually was going to become a pediatrician. But
Wow.
get to college, again, shout out Hampton University, and got to organic chemistry and said, I'm not sure they're even speaking English. I don't know what's happening here. Like, it was a little difficult to comprehend. I got through it.
Okay.
Organic Chem 1 and 2, I got through them, but it was a little difficult. And I was like, if I'm going to do 4 more years, it's only going to get harder.
Right.
So I don't think the pediatrician thing is really in my scope anymore, which is cool. You know,
Right.
I always say the creator has plans even when we don't see it.
Exactly.
Right? So graduate from college and was like, okay, I have a bio degree. What am I going to do? My mom worked at Unilever at the time and said there's a lot of students here, or a lot of younger people working here who were also science majors. Maybe this is something you could get into. And so from that, I got into the cosmetic science field.
Oh, okay.
Right, on the manufacturing side. So I
Gotcha.
always worked in research and development because my background is science, and
Right.
that is really the hub of whatever type of product you buy. There is an R&D team behind it because the work has to be done. So having that work experience, having that educational experience, all I really did was combine the two.
Right, you
And
made a
then
marriage out of it.
exactly, and create products that, like I said, originally were just for myself, but in turn, it turned into a business. But I was always, before STEM was cool, I was into STEM. Science, technology,
Right.
engineering, and mathematics. Like, I was in that world. And I really wish that more of our Black and brown youth got into it, because there's so many opportunities. When I tell people, yeah, I work for a fragrance company, I'm actually behind the research, of fragrances before they're paired up with different bases like lotions and soaps and things. I have to, monitor and make sure that everything coincides and it's stable before it even gets to the consumer. People don't even realize there's a whole world
Right.
with that.
They don't even see that.
They
part
don't
of
even
the
see. They
game.
go to the store, they buy Tide, they keep it pushing, but they don't even realize there's a whole science behind what you're purchasing.
Right.
And so there's so many avenues for children that are into STEM or even STEAM, because we'll add the arts in with that.
Right.
There's a whole avenue for our youth, and I just wish that more were invested in it. And it's interesting. It really is interesting. And let's be clear, we were called nerds once upon a
Of
time.
course.
But you could be a cool nerd. There's nothing wrong with it.
nerds. I mean,
Exactly.
We glorify the monkey shit.
Right.
So why not glorify the positive shit? I mean,
Right.
we just gonna deal with the reality of it. all.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? But I think what makes your product so great is that you're doing it.
Yeah. I'm not paying anybody.
You're not
to
paying
form
anybody.
us, right.
You're not chopping it up with this person. You're hands on. And that's what makes the product a blessing. Because a lot of these products, they, like you said, they throwing somebody's name and face and they showing it. Oh shit, such and such got this. But they're not really the masterminds. They're not behind it. It smells good. They got a face, and they run with it.
Right,
You know what I mean? Now, I got another question I want to ask you because I'm very curious to know. Have you ever thought about teaching the youth? I mean, why not? Because it got to start somewhere.
No, you're right. You are so correct.
It has to start somewhere. And
You're
sometimes
correct.
in our community, people don't want to get involved unless they can touch the person.
Right. That's true. That
Personally
is true.
know the person. Like,
Right.
you know what? She's a good person. She's outspoken. She has an education. She's not just out here just trying to make a quick, fast buck.
Right.
And they know you because, listen, we waiting for you to run for mayor in Teaneck. we not going to get into that. You know what I'm saying? So I say all this to say you're a people's person, Ab. I mean, you may be the youth director to teach these kids out here that need that in the Teaneck or the Bergen County community because we really don't have that. We got soccer, we got basketball, we got cheerleading, but no one's teaching this.
Right,
like education, these is educational things. It's not always about picking up a basketball or making a song to get out the hood.
That's true.
We need education. We need wisdom. We need people that's been there, done that. Like, you've been to school. You did the work.
Right.
The product is here.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you'd be a great advocate.
Wow, thank
You know what I mean?
Thank-
To do it.
I've actually never thought about that, but you are right. You are right. I mean, it's one thing to just say, you know what, it can be done, this, that, and the third, and then not actually do it or instruct people how to do it, or even if I'm not instructing, I'm kind of just saying, you know what, like, sign up for
Mentoring.
this program.
Right, mentoring.
Right. Sign up for this program, or, you know, while you're in school, I understand you like sports, but maybe just look into, you know, some type of science program or some type of technology program, because one thing about our youth, I mean, they can do anything they put their minds to.
Especially at this day and time
Yeah.
with everything
And
being
I mean,
hands-on. Technology is not how it was
Listen,
when I was growing up.
Let
There
me
was
tell
no
you
technology.
something. I didn't have a computer course until high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and people talk about families not having money and so they don't have access. There is some way of getting what you want.
Of course.
And what I say to parents is, it's cool, you know, a lot of people, it's about fashion, this, that, and the third. And that's great too. Because one thing about people of color, whatever we put our hands on, we master.
We're going to remix it.
Listen, we make it look, I mean, just flawless,
Right.
and with finesse and the whole nine. But the same way you feel about fashion and music and whatever, put into your children, even if you don't fully understand science, you don't fully grasp math. Those are really two areas that if you get them, if you understand them at a young age, at an early age, you can go far in life no matter what it is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of companies out here. And like I said, my father being African, that's how he was raised.
But that was the blessing.
Yeah.
You know, everybody doesn't have that in their
That's
home.
true. That is true. That is very true. And that's why I'm saying it, because being African American,
Right.
I see the differences when it comes to education, as far as how Africans view it and then how it's viewed here in America.
Exactly.
And it's very, very lax. But the reality is, if we want our children to succeed, they have to take school seriously. Everybody's not going to be able to become an athlete. That window is so small. And music, I mean, there's people out here, especially today, you have a song that's hot right now, and then next month, nobody even remembers.
It's a passing trend.
Exactly. So it's like, why not pursue something? Nobody's saying disregard your passion.
Of course, no.
But pursue something that is going to help you maintain, or if the passion falls by the wayside, you have something to fall back on.
Right.
And so I think it's important for parents to instill that in their children. And I really want our children to become more invested in STEM and in STEAM, not just STEM, but STEAM as well.
And that's correct, because in the community now, with this day and time, if we're not pushing our kids, it's like we kind of one-sided.
Right.
Like, we just want to get out of high school. Like, I'm a father. Just, Lord, if he can just get past, just get to the next grade. But it's
Right.
more than just getting to the next grade.
Right,
It's the
right.
next level of life.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I was guilty of that. I'm not gonna sit here in front to the guests or anything. Listen, let's just get past this.
Right.
But then I realized, nah, I want more. Because if I want that, if I'm driven, I want my child to be driven.
Exactly. And every generation is supposed to do better than the last.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? But every generation doesn't have the parents that's even going to take the time out to say, hey, let's do something different instead of sign you up for the football.
Right.
Let's sign you up for an educational program,
Right.
some tutorials. And also with you being a young, black, successful woman, they can see that in you. And I think that's what we need. Like, we need to see the people.
Yeah. No, yeah. Tangibility is so important.
Very important,
It's
especially
so
at this
important.
day and time.
Yeah.
In this era, everything has to be seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they say, oh, no, well, it's such a... No, she's really doing it. Here's the
Yeah.
product. She's graduated, and she still stays fresh. She still drips. Everything she's still doing is in line. She's not, like, out of chat. Because people feel like, well, if I go this way, then I'm not going to be accepted.
Like I said, nerds, oh, that person's a nerd,
Right.
this, that, and the third. And I'm like, there are cool, smart people out here. Like, don't get the game twisted.
Right.
You do have people who you're like, okay, that person is corny or whatever. But you have people out here who... the way their minds work, when you have conversation with them, you're like, this person is highly intelligent and they're cool.
Right.
And so it's easy to relate to them and it's easy to even listen to them.
Right.
And that's one thing that I want the youth to know. It's okay to be smart. Like, there is nothing wrong with being smart. There is nothing wrong with being smart.
And
you can be smart
education.
and cool. Like, I can't stand the whole I'm too cool. Remember, I'm too cool for school, or like I'm cooling and there is nothing wrong with being smart, because A, you're not going to be young forever. B, you're not going to be young enough to work hard forever.
Right.
So you want to put it in when you can, so that when you're old or older, you're getting money, but you're not working as hard. You know what I mean? And that's really what it's about. Like, I don't think people look to the future like, you know what? I don't want to struggle at 50 years old. I don't want to struggle at 60. I don't want to have to work hard. I want to put in the time and the effort at a younger age that sets me up for when I'm older. And then I can just kick back and enjoy life.
Right, that's true. And that's why we need you. You. I'm putting it out there, people.
I hear
you.
I'm not
you know what I mean?
mad.
To start, we got to start breaking the cycle.
You're right. You are right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
Just right here in our community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a blessing, because what you bring, I use the product. You know this. I support it to the fullest.
The beer bomb.
It's been great. I love it.
Thank you.
And it's,
Thank you.
it's, trust me, and I'm not just hyping this up. I know how my face is. Mm-hmm. And that, honestly, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, okay. Like, it's just like going to get me my Dove soap or going to get my sneakers. I got to get my Hair Brew for a bed. This is what goes in the closet with everything else.
You. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, with that, where do you see yourself in 5 years with Hair Brew?
In 5 years, because I'll be 10 years in the game.
That's why I said that.
Yeah. Definitely on more shelves. Right now I'm on shelves of smaller stores, barbershops, but I strive to be in Sephora, in Ulta, in Walmart, in Target, the bigger chain stores, so that the product is available to a wider audience, no matter where you are in the country. Because of course I have my online store and I ship all over the country. Right. But if I'm in more stores, then of course you don't even have to wait and order online. You can just go to your neighborhood store, whether it's Target or Sally's, pick up Hair Brew and go about your business. So that's definitely one of the things that is on my vision board, so to speak. Right. The other is, I would love, and it's funny because you did ask, like, did I ever think about teaching? But I really would love to start some type of program that targets Black and brown young people, male and female, and teaches them all about cosmetic science, because I think that's an overlooked.
Very overlooked.
Yeah, I think that's an overlooked subject. It's something that, like I said, if my mom didn't work at Unilever, I wouldn't have known about.
And that's the funny thing about it, because a lot of the parents don't have the knowledge of that.
Right.
And
Right.
some of us are just stuck on this and not even thinking about
Right.
that.
But you know why? Because we're not at these companies.
Exactly.
We're not at these companies. I mean, like I said, my mom being an accountant, that's how she was able, or that's why she was at Unilever. But I've worked with these companies because I'm on the manufacturing side, Unilever, P&G, Johnson & Johnson, those are some of my companies, my 9 to 5 business.
Right.
Those are our clients. And so I've met with some of the people. We're not there. We are not at these companies. And when we are not in the departments like R&D. We're not, and when we are there, the numbers are so small. We're not making an impact, and I don't think we're really letting people know that these positions and professions they're available. They're out there. You know what I mean? Like, we have to, it can't just be everybody's doing the same thing.
Right.
It's so many professions out there. And that's something that I would like to, some type of program where I'm letting our youth know, these are different avenues. If you are a science major, or if you're involved in science and you love it, there's different avenues. You don't only have to become a doctor.
Right.
You don't only have to become a nurse. There's other avenues where you can use science to progress in life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the blessing that you're able to, be a part of that, because it's more to life than just being on the assembly line.
Right.
Let's get out of just be working in the warehouse.
Right.
Let's get in the offices. Let's get into corporate America.
Right. Yes.
Because we know what we want.
Right.
We know what we like. We know what the consumers like. But if we so busy just trying to get in the warehouse
Right.
and be in the production line
Right. Yeah.
and laughing and joking, when honestly that's not the career. That's a job.
Right.
And
And
that's
there's
the
nothing
difference.
wrong with a stepping stone.
No, listen. I understand it. I respect it, but we also have to motivate the reality.
Yeah,
The
we gotta strive
reality
for
is,
more.
I have a 17-year-old son, so I know our conversation sometimes is, yo, my man, you about to get ready to graduate. What's your next step? I'm picking his brain because I want to see where you at.
Yeah. And we're quick to, I was just talking to my mom about this last week. We are quick to kind of throw our children out. Oh, you're 18, you got to get out. But have you prepped them with the tools they need to swim instead of sink? You know what I mean? And listen, you should know your child. Everybody's child is not going to college.
Exactly.
Everybody's child
That's
is
the
not
reality.
ready for college at 17, 18 years old. They need something, because if not, they're going to sink. And if you love them, you don't want to see them sink. You want to see them swim.
Right.
So instead of saying, and I mean, I hear parents, oh, my son or my daughter, 18 years old, high school, that's it. They got to get out. And I'm like, but are they ready to get out?
I'm a father again. I'm a father of 7. My oldest
Wow.
is 26.
Okay.
I'm a grandfather.
Wow, okay.
So I have
Blessings.
experience in that wave of life and way of thinking. Like, what are you gonna do? But I never was the father that said you gotta leave. My thing was, what you gonna do?
Right.
I want to know your plan. And I think we don't take the time out as parents to even know our kids' plan.
Very
We're
true.
pushing them out the door, but did you even give them wisdom and guidance? Like, I want to know your plan. Then I'm able to teach you and help you, because at the end of the day, I know at 18, my parents wasn't really saying get out. They was more like figure it out.
Right, right,
And that's the difference.
right.
You know what I mean? And you were blessed, once again, to have the marriage of your parents, literally. Your father being the man that he is, the mother being the woman that she is. It birthed you, but with that marriage also birthed your own personal product. And a lot of the homes, because the parents are not aware either. Let's just be honest.
true.
A lot of our parents are not even aware. So how you sitting there pushing the kid out? You need to be pushing yourself out.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That's a whole nother
But that's why it takes
Lane.
a village. It
takes you to lead the village of Hair Brew to lead. I'm gonna say it. This platform.
I'm not even mad at your perseverance.
Because at the end of the day, it starts at
it's
with
true.
you.
It's
it
true.
started for you at
It's
home.
true.
Everybody don't have what they have at home. It's a lot of single mothers, single fathers.
Yeah.
You had both.
Yeah.
I had both.
Yeah.
So having both, it means a lot.
Yeah.
My father had his own cleaning company. My mother worked for the city of New York.
Okay.
So their marriage, each one teach one. So it was always structure.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to have
important.
a structured home when your mother's working 2 jobs.
Right.
And you
it's
got
just your mother and
And then your father come through on the weekend and play his 1-2.
Right.
He's taking you to the mall, taking you to get something to eat. We laughing and joking, but are we educating?
Right. But that's why I say a village, because listen, for as much as, yes, I came out of a 2-parent home, it wasn't just them. I was blessed my parents, now everybody's talking about Black excellence and Black is beautiful, this, that, and the third. But the reality is my parents were on that long time ago.
Mind you, Black
long
love.
time ago.
Parents been married 60 years.
Listen, my elementary school was an all Black private school.
Right.
The founder was the niece of James Weldon Johnson, the man who wrote Lift Every Voice and Sing. So my entire school, we sang Lift Every Voice and Sing every Thursday. We had all Black teachers, faculty. Then I went to church in Harlem. My pastor worked with Dr. King. He also worked with Rockefeller. His whole thing, and I didn't realize, when you're a child, you don't realize things, right?
No,
but as an adult, I said, this man, his thing was, with all the children in this church, not all of them have a 2-parent. Not all of them come out of a 2-parent home. Not all of them are middle class children. So those of you in the church who make a certain amount of money, who may not have children, you really should foster these children to take trips. When the church would take all the children on trips, the ones that can't pay, those of you that are making over $100,000, sponsor a child so that they get the exposure. He was serious about that.
Right.
He worked with Dr. Calvin Butts and some other pastors in Harlem opening businesses to give the youth in the community jobs. And those were the people that were a part of my village.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm heavy on it takes a village. You have people out here who are parents who may not know about certain programs, and maybe they didn't go to college, or maybe they're single parents, whether it's just, the mom or just the dad. But you have to have a village of people who are just as invested in the success of your child as you are.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
And we can sometimes fall short because, our history in this country is a hard one. I always tell people, again, my father being African, the beginning of Black people is not slavery.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we come from greatness. We come from kings and queens. That slavery is not the beginning, but our struggle in this country, our history, American history, was a hard one. So now that a lot of people feel they've made it, they're kind of really only concerned with their own, what's going on in their own home, their own job, their own children. And that sense of community has been lost. And so you see a lot of people, a lot of children that's just wayward. Whereas once upon a time, when our parents didn't make that much money, the community was way more invested in its youth than it is now. And I feel like we have to get back to that.
Right.
We have to, because it is about the youth. Listen, I'm 43 years old. I'm not young. I'm not old, but I'm not young.
Right.
It's not about me. I'm at the top of the mountain. It's only really now going down. I'm not going up.
Right.
Our young people are going up. We have to make sure they can go up the mountain and have the tools to get to the top. If not, we're doing ourselves a disservice.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
I'm sorry. I know I came here to talk
Listen,
about
man. Listen. We here to talk. We here to talk. Each one teach one. That's what it's about.
Facts. It's facts.
I appreciate you as a, you know what I mean? Because
facts.
whoever's watching this or listening, maybe they need to hear that. It could be some parents tuned in. We don't know, but we're here to teach and educate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, the reality of it all. You know what I mean? But as we get ready to wrap it up, I gotta ask you something that, I don't know. I'm gonna word the right way.
Okay.
But you being a black female entrepreneur, it's a lot of other black female entrepreneurs that's sitting at home on their ass who's not motivated yet.
Okay.
What would you tell them to motivate them? Because, everybody has a plan, everybody has an idea. But everybody's not putting in that work.
Okay.
And sometimes, I'm not a woman, so I don't know. They may feel like they don't want to do this because it's a man's world. Or it's a man-dominated situation. But it doesn't matter. As long as you got something that's great, it's a product. But hearing it come from another black successful entrepreneur, what would you tell our women that's listening that ready to start but haven't turned the engine yet? What would you tell them today before we close out?
You can do it. Listen, I had no business background. All I knew was science. I had to sell candy bars as a kid and hated it and said as a kid, I'm not selling anything ever. I said that. And now look at me. You can do it. Again, we come from kings and queens. It's in us. It's in us. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. Don't let anyone make you feel less than. Don't say I don't know something so I can't do. There's things, nobody knows everything. The smartest man knows, or the smartest woman knows, they don't know everything. Tap into your network. Google's your friend, bruh. Isn't that what Jay-Z said? Like, do your research, do your legwork. You can do it. You can't expect anybody to have faith in you if you don't have faith in you. And nothing works unless you do. And it sounds cliche, but it's big facts. Do it. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, because, wow, I know a lot of us suffer from just being lazy.
Yeah.
I'll get to it tomorrow. Procrastination. But here we are. 5 years. Hair Brew is popping, running. Let the people know where they can find you. Your website, your IG. You know what I mean?
Okay. Hair Brew. My website is www.hairbrewproducts.com. Again, Hair Brew Products with an S at the end.com. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Hair Brew. I'm in North Bergen County, North Jersey, but I am available online. If you go on Google and type in Hair Brew, there I am. Hair and Brew, B as in boy, REW, like the coffee or the beer. But yeah, you can find me Hair Brew. Like I said, Google it, and there I am.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you. This was
You're a blessing.
Yes.
And God be the glory.
Thank you.
Because I know it was through him and with him that you're here now.
Listen, I always say the Creator has blessed me. So it's only right that I share my experiences.
We appreciate you, and I thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
That's it, baby girl.